Next is the hydraulic efficiency. Okay, now what is hydraulic efficiency? Hydraulic efficiency is nothing but the combination of the nozzle efficiency and blade efficiency. When you combine both nozzle efficiency and blade efficiency, that combination is called as hydraulic efficiency. So from this figure, if I want to explain you what will be hydraulic efficiency is nothing but the runner power, that means the power which we are getting finally from the runner, divided by water power which was available at the entry of nozzle. Okay, so this hydraulic efficiency eta H can be written as nozzle efficiency into blade efficiency. Okay, what was nozzle efficiency? Kinetic energy divided by water power. Okay, into what was blade efficiency? Runner power divided by kinetic energy. Okay, so this kinetic energy will be cancelled out and you will get what? Runner power divided by water power. Okay, so this is nothing but the hydraulic efficiency. Runner power, as we know, is what? Mu Vw1 plus minus Vw2 divided by water power is rho GQ into H. This M and rho Q will get cancelled out and we will get what? U into Vw1 plus minus Vw2 divided by G into H. Okay, so this is nothing but the hydraulic efficiency. Okay, so when you are considering hydraulic efficiency, you don't need to consider nozzle and that blade efficiency separately. You can directly have the value of this hydraulic efficiency. Okay, now next type of efficiency is the mechanical efficiency. Okay, now what is mechanical efficiency? So after the runner is generating power, that power is finally transmitted to the shaft, and while the transmission there will be certain losses, and in this expression this U Vw1 plus minus Vw2 divided by G, this is nothing but runner head, or you can call it as Euler head. Okay, this H was actually the net head. So this runner head, total runner head divided by net head is also nothing but this hydraulic efficiency. Getting this now? Okay, or you can call it as energy transfer per unit weight of water. This is also energy transfer per unit weight of water. Getting this now? Okay, so this is nothing but the hydraulic efficiency. Now next type of efficiency is the mechanical efficiency. Next is the mechanical efficiency. Now what is mechanical efficiency? Now once the runner is generating power, that power has to be finally transmitted to the shaft, and then shaft will finally deliver it to generator, and then we produce electricity. But in between, when this runner is transmitting power to the shaft, there will be certain losses like friction losses, and those losses are called as the mechanical losses. And the efficiency is called as a mechanical efficiency. So mechanical efficiency is very simple. This is nothing but the ratio of shaft power to runner power. Okay, that means output of shaft divided by input of shaft. Shaft is getting input as runner power, and output it is leaving as shaft power. Okay, so this ratio of shaft power to runner power is nothing but this mechanical efficiency. Okay, so this can be written as final power or shaft power divided by runner power is M into U Vw1 plus minus of Vw2. Okay, and for Pelton wheel turbine, this mechanical efficiency is actually very high. This is the reason why Pelton wheel turbine is preferred over other turbines. So for Pelton wheel, this mechanical efficiency is approximately 97 to 99%. Okay, so this is nothing but mechanical efficiency. Next efficiency is the overall efficiency. Now what is overall efficiency? Overall efficiency is nothing but combination of hydraulic efficiency and mechanical efficiency. Okay, now as I told you, we have already considered the nozzle efficiency and blade efficiency in this hydraulic efficiency, so no need to consider that. Just the product of hydraulic efficiency and mechanical efficiency will give us overall efficiency. Okay, or you can say that this overall efficiency is nothing but the total power, the shaft power which we are getting, final power which we are getting, divided by the total water power which is available at the entry of nozzle. Okay, so this overall efficiency will be equal to shaft power divided by water power. Okay, or this can be written as P divided by rho GQ into H. Okay, so this is nothing but the overall efficiency. Okay, very simple to remember. I will just tell you one more time. With a separate figure, I will tell you. The very first, we are having the water power. Okay, we are having the water power rho gq into h, where h is net head. Okay, this water power is transmitting through the nozzle. Okay, and out of this nozzle we are getting kinetic energy, which is nothing but half mv1 square. Okay, so if you want to determine efficiency, nozzle efficiency, output of nozzle, which is half mv1 square, divided by input of nozzle, which is rho gq into h. Very simple. Okay, now from this nozzle, this is striking the blade or the runner. Now out of this runner we are getting runner power, which is equal to mu vw1 plus minus of vw2. Getting this? Okay, so runner power, the blade efficiency will be equal to the runner power divided by the kinetic energy. Okay, and these two combine and form hydraulic efficiency. So hydraulic efficiency is runner power divided by water power. Now this runner is further delivering to the shaft. Okay, now, and this is the output of this shaft is nothing but shaft power, PS. Okay, and the efficiency, the losses are called as the mechanical losses. So mechanical efficiency is equal to shaft power divided by runner power. Okay, so overall efficiency should be equal to shaft power divided by water power. Now further, if this shaft power is getting to the generator, we can have further generator efficiency also, but that is not our concern if this is getting to the generator. And finally we will get the total power in kilowatt. Okay, so this generator efficiency will be equal to power in kilowatt divided by the shaft power, and this overall efficiency will be equal to the power in kilowatt divided by the water power. Getting this? So just remember this figure, and with this figure it will be very clear, and you will never forget this efficiency, the concept of efficiency. Getting this now? Okay, so this is all about the Pelton-Wheel turbine. Now there is one limitation of this Pelton-Wheel turbine. I will tell you that limitation. There is one limitation. At this Pelton-Wheel turbine is suitable for high heads only and not for low heads. Okay, so this Pelton-Wheel turbine is not suitable when the water is available at low head. Okay, the reason being very simple. So this P, the water power, is equal to what? Total rho g QH. Okay, now if the head is low, just understand this thing. If the head we are having is low, obviously more is the head, more will be the power. If the head is low, Q has to be high for maintaining the power. If the head is low, अगर हम उसको low head में काम कर रहे हैं, then obviously उसका discharge, उसका Q high होना चाहिए. Q high होना चाहिए, इसका मतलब क्या हुआ? That means the jet diameter, the diameter from which the jet is getting discharged, this D should be high. And if this D is high, obviously the capital D, that means the diameter of the runner, this should also be high. And obviously we will have a bulky model. बहुत ज़्यादा bulky model होगा और बहुत ज़्यादा वो viable नहीं होगा power generation के लिए, because जितना ज़्यादा bulky होगा obviously उसका खुद का weight, self weight भी उतना ही ज़्यादा होगा, which has to rotate. Okay, so this, the main limitation of this Pelton-Wheel turbine is that this works only under high heads and not under low heads. The reason I told you, for low heads the Q has to be high, for which the diameter has to be high, the jet diameter has to be high, and the runner diameter will be high, and the model will be very bulky, which is not suitable for developing power. So this is the limitation for this Pelton-Wheel turbine. Okay, so now we will solve some questions of this Pelton-Wheel turbine. The very first question says the mean bucket speed is 15 meter per second. Bucket speed, that means U is given as 15 meter per second. Rate of flow of water under a head of 42 meter is 1 meter cube per second. Total head is given as 42 meter. Rate of flow of water, that means Q is given as 1 meter cube per second. If the jet is deflected by 165 degree, okay, jet deflection angle is given, that means theta is given as 165 degree. Okay, that means if you want to calculate beta, it will be 180 minus 165, which is equal to 15 degree. Getting this? Jet deflection angle. We have to find the power and hydraulic efficiency of the turbine. CV is also given as 0.985. Getting this? Okay, so now the inlet velocity triangle, as I told you, will be a horizontal line. Okay, so this will be our V1, which is equal to VW1 this is u1 and this is vr1. Okay, now in order to draw the outlet velocity triangle, now whether the angle beta 2 sorry, whether the angle alpha 2 is greater than 90 degree or less than 90, how can we check it? So first we can check it from here. Just look at this figure carefully. If this Vr2 cos of beta 2 is greater than u, okay, here what is in this case Vr2 cos of beta 2 is greater than u, then obviously this alpha 2 is less than 90 degree. Okay, and if this Vr2 cos beta 2 is less than u, here u is total this, or Vr2 cos beta 2 कितना है, इतना है, that means Vr2 cos beta 2 is less than u, that means this here this alpha is greater than 90 degree, और अगर Vr2 cos beta 2 greater than u आ रहा है, then this alpha 2 is less than 90 degree. Okay, so first of all let us check this Vr2 cos beta 2. So for that we will have to determine this Vr2, and for that Vr2 we will first have to determine Vr1, because obviously nothing is mentioned about k, so this Vr1 will be equal to Vr2. So how can we determine this Vr1? So for that first we will determine V1. So V1 is what? Cv root 2gh. Okay, we can start from here. Now this Cv is 0.985 under root of 2gh, h is given as 42 meter. So from here this V1 will be equal to 28.27 meter per second. First thing. Okay, now we have the value of V1, we have the value of u, we can determine the value of Vr1, which is equal to V1 minus u. Okay, so this will be 28.27 minus 15. So from here this Vr1 will be equal to 13.27 meter per second. Okay, now as I told you, friction factor is not given, that means we will assume that friction factor k is equal to 1. So if this k is equal to 1, Vr2 will be equal to Vr1, which is equal to 13.27 meter per second. Okay, now I told you to determine Vr2 cos beta 2, then only it will be possible to proceed further. So what is this Vr2 cos beta 2? Okay, beta 2 is also given, sorry, this is not beta 1, this is beta 2, which is 15 degree. So Vr2 cos of beta 2 is equal to 13.27 cos of 15 degree. Okay, so this will be equal to on calculation you will get it as 12.81 meter per second. Vr2 cos of beta 2. Getting this or not? Okay, now this Vr2 cos of beta 2 is 12.81 and u is 15 meter per second. That means since Vr2 cos of beta 2 is less than u, therefore alpha 2 should be greater than 90 degree. Okay, as I told you, if Vr2 cos beta 2 is greater than u, then alpha 2 is less than 90 degree, and we will sorry, if Vr2 cos beta 2 is greater than u, then alpha 2 is greater than 90 degree, and we will get the velocity triangle like this. Okay, so now we can draw the velocity triangle here. So velocity triangle will be somewhat like this. This is Vr2, this will be V2. Okay, this is Vw2, and this hole is u2. Getting this or not? Okay, now we can now determine the value of Vw2. Okay, now since we want to determine runner power, and runner power is what? M into Vw1 minus Vw2 into u. Now we have the value of Vw1 already, which is equal to V1. We just want to determine the value of Vw2, and this Vw2 will be equal to Vw2, you can write it as u2 minus Vr2 cos of beta 2. Okay, Vw2 is u2 minus Vr2 cos beta 2. Okay, so just determine this Vw2, u2 minus Vr2 cos of beta 2. Okay, u2 is 15 minus 12.81, so this will be equal to 2.18 meter per second. So from here we can determine this runner power. Mass is given as that mass flow rate is 1 meter cube per second into density, rho into q is mass. Okay, so this will be 1 into 1000 into VW1 28.27 minus 2.18 into U is 15. So from here we will get this runner power as 391.32 kilowatt. Okay, so this is the power of the turbine, runner power. Okay, similarly hydraulic efficiency we can have. Hydraulic efficiency is runner efficiency divided by water power, rho GQH. Okay, so this will be 391.32 into 10 raised power 3 in watt divided by rho GQH. Rho into G is 9810 into Q is given as 1 meter cube into 42 meters. So from here hydraulic efficiency will be equal to 94.9%. Okay, so this is how we can determine for this Pelton wheel turbine. Getting this? Okay, next question. Okay, next question says a Pelton wheel is to be designed for a shaft power of 9560 kilowatt. Shaft power is given. Okay, head is given as 350 meter. Overall efficiency is given. Jet diameter is given as 1/6 of the wheel diameter. We have to determine first the wheel diameter, then the number of jet required. CV is given and blade speed ratio is given. Okay, now what we can do, the very first thing is we have the value of the head. Okay, we have the value of CV, so we can determine the value of V1. So V1 is equal to what? CV under root of 2GH. Okay, so just determine the value of this V1. So this will be 0.985 under root of 2 into 9.81 into head is 350 meter. Okay, so from here this V1 will be equal to 81.62 meter per second. First thing. Okay, now why we determine this V1, you will understand this because we have the value of this blade speed ratio is given. Okay, and what is blade speed ratio? This blade speed ratio is nothing but U by V1, as I told you, which is equal to 0.45, and we have the value of V1, so we can determine the value of U, which is equal to 0.45 into V1 is 81.62. Okay, so from here this U will be equal to 36.73 meter per second. Okay, so we have the value of this U. Okay, now in order to determine wheel diameter, okay, we know what U is equal to pi dn by 60. Okay, so in order to determine wheel diameter can be determined from here. So we have the value of this U, which is 36.73 is equal to pi into d into n. Okay, what is the value of n given? 750 rpm divided by 60. So from here we can determine the wheel diameter, which was the first requirement, and this will be equal to 0.935 meter. Okay, this is the first answer. First thing. Okay, now second thing which is asked is number of jet required. How much jets are total number of jets are required here. Okay, so how can we determine this? सबसे पहले तो हम jet का diameter निकाल सकते हैं. The jet diameter is 1/6 of the wheel diameter. We have the value of wheel diameter, so we can determine the value of jet diameter small d, which is equal to capital D by 6, 1/6 of the wheel diameter. So this will be equal to 0.935 by 6. So this will be equal to 0.156 meter. Okay, this is the value of jet diameter, one jet diameter. Okay, now the total discharge, if we want to determine, since overall efficiency is given, okay, and overall efficiency as we know is shaft power upon water power. Water power is rho GQH. Okay, so from here we can determine, so this will be equal to, from here you can determine the value of this Q here. Okay, so this Q will be equal to PS upon rho G eta into H. So just put the value. Shaft power is given as how much? 9560 kilowatt into 10 raised power 3 watt. Okay, divided by rho 1000, G 9.81. Overall efficiency is given as how much? Overall efficiency is given as 0.85 into head is given as 350. Okay, so from here this Q will be equal to 3.27 meter cube per second. Okay, so you can determine the value of Q from here, which is 3.27 meter cube per second. Getting this or not? Okay, so now we have the value of total discharge and we have the value of the diameter of single jet. Okay, so total discharge, as I told you, if there are suppose n number of jet, then total discharge Q is equal to n into pi by 4 d square into V1. I have already told you. Okay, so this is nothing but 3.27 is equal to pi by 4 into diameter of one jet is 0.156, 0.156 square into V1. V1 also we have determined. V1 is equal to 81.62 into 81.62 into n. Getting this one? Okay, so from here we can determine the value of n, which is equal to 2. That means at least 2 number of jets are required for this Pelton wheel. Getting this or not? Okay, now next question, one more question we will solve. Okay, this question says a single jet Pelton wheel is required to drive a generator of 10 megawatt power. Available head is 760 meter. If efficiency is mechanical efficiency, this is mechanical, if mechanical efficiency is 95% and hydraulic efficiency is 87% and CV is also given, bucket speed is 0.46 times of jet speed, that means rho is given, blade angle at outlet is given, beta 2 is also given, relative velocity of the water leaving the bucket is 0.85 times the relative velocity at inlet. Now what does this mean? Relative velocity VR2 is 0.85 times that of VR1, that means the value of K is also given. Getting this answer? Okay, so first of all let us write the given data. So we have the shaft power as 10 megawatt, 10 megawatt. Then we have total head available as 760 meter. Okay, mechanical efficiency is given as 0.95, hydraulic efficiency is given as 0.87, CV is given as 0.97. Okay, the ratio of bucket speed to jet speed. Okay, bucket speed means U by V1 is given as 0.46. Getting this? Blade angle at outlet beta 2 is 15 degree. Relative velocity VR2 by VR1, which is equal to K, which is equal to 0.85. Okay, so these are the given data. Okay, so very first thing is we have to determine the discharge. Now how can we determine discharge? So we have the value of mechanical efficiency and hydraulic efficiency. Okay, so determining discharge Q. Okay, so for that overall efficiency is what? Mechanical efficiency into hydraulic efficiency. Okay, and this overall efficiency, as I have already told you, is ratio of shaft power to water power. Okay, and what is water power? Rho G Q into H. Getting this or not? Okay, so from here mechanical efficiency is given as 0.95, hydraulic efficiency is given as 0.87, shaft power is also given, which is 10 megawatt. That means 10 into 10 raised power 6 watt. 10 into 10 raised power 6 watt divided by rho G 9810 into Q into head is 760. So from here this Q will be equal to 1.62 meter cube per second. First thing. Getting this? Second, we have to determine the jet diameter. Okay, now how can we determine this jet diameter? So for this Q we have is equal to pi by 4 d square into V1. Okay, so in order to determine the jet diameter, first determine the value of V1, and V1 is simple to determine. V1 is equal to CV root 2GH. Okay, so just put the value. CV is 0.97, under root of 2 into 9.81 into H is 760. So this will be equal to 118.45 meter per second. Okay, and once you have the value of this V1, just put the value of V1 and you will get the value of D. Okay, so from here this D, this will be 1.62 is equal to pi by 4 d square into 118.45. So from here this d will be equal to 0.1319 meter or 131.9 mm. Getting this or not? Okay, second thing. Third thing we have to determine is the force exerted by jet on the wheel. Okay, now how can you determine this force exerted by jet on the wheel? Okay, so we know one thing, if we have the value of runner power. Okay, runner power, as I told you, is nothing but F into U. Okay, now in order to have the runner power, we will have to determine VW1, VW2, which is not possible with the given data. Okay, second thing what we can do is we have the value of mechanical efficiency. Okay, so we can determine the value of this runner power from this mechanical efficiency directly without using VW1 and VW2 and so on. Okay, so mechanical efficiency, as we know, is what? shaft power divided by runner power. Okay, so this is equal to mechanical efficiency is given as 0.95 is equal to shaft power, which is 10 megawatt divided by runner power. Okay, so from here this runner power will be equal to 10.52 megawatt. Okay, this is the value of runner power, and once you have the value of runner power, you can determine the value of force. Okay, so this force F will be equal to runner power divided by U. Okay, so just put the value. This will be 10.52, this is in megawatt, into 10 raised power 6 divided by U, which is now how can you determine the value of U? So this U by V1 is given as 0.46. Okay, so in order to determine U, multiply this by V1. Okay, so this U, I will determine it here. U by V1 is 0.46, therefore U is equal to 0.46 into V1. Okay, and V1 we have already determined. What was V1? 118.45. Okay, so this will be equal to U will be equal to 54.487 meter per second. Getting this? So just put the value 54.487 meter per second. So this F here will be equal to 193 kilonewton. Getting this now? Very simple. Okay, so our second part is over. The third part is over. Force exerted by jet on the wheel. Okay, next part, the best synchronous speed for the generator of 50 hertz frequency. We have to determine the best synchronous speed of the generator. Okay, so how can you determine this best synchronous speed? So for that, I will tell you one formula. This N is equal to 120 F divided by P. Okay, this is in RPM. Getting this? Where F is the frequency, P is number of poles in the generator. If you know about the generator, there are two poles, south pole and north pole. So how many number of such poles are present in the generator? That is nothing but P. P is number of poles in generator. And obviously that has to be always even. Okay, that means that is a pair of poles, north and south pole. These are two poles, so number of poles obviously has to be even. Has to be even. Getting this now? Okay, so here we have the value of this frequency, which is given as 50 hertz. So from here we can determine the number of pole if we have the value of N. Okay, now determining N is very simple. How can you determine N? U is equal to what? Pi dN by 60. Getting this? Okay, or N is equal to 60 U by pi into D. Okay, so just put the value. Now what we have and what we don't have. We don't have the value of this capital D. Okay, but we have the value of ratio. See, the ratio of mean diameter to jet diameter is not less than 10. Okay, that means the value of capital D by small d, this should be actually greater than or equal to 10. Getting this? That means this capital D should be greater than or equal to 10 times of small d. Getting this? Considering the minimum value, so this capital D should be equal to 10 times of small d. Getting this? Okay, so from here first we can determine the value of this capital D. Now we have the value of small d. We have already determined the value of small d somewhere, I guess. Okay, second part was the jet diameter. Okay, so we can determine the value of this capital D, which is 10 times of a small d. Okay, so this capital D will be equal to 1.32 meter. Okay, the second point we have determined the value of a small d, the jet diameter, which was 0.132. Getting this one? Okay, so from here we can determine the value of this capital D, and we have the value of U, so we can determine the value of N from here. So N will be equal to 60 into U, which is 54.487 divided by pi into 1.32. Okay, so from here this N will be equal to 788.3 RPM. Getting this not? Okay, now if we have the value of this N, we can determine the value of P. Okay, now this what we are doing, you will understand it soon. Okay, now the value of P we can determine from here. So this will be equal to 788.3 is equal to 120 into frequency is given as 50 Hertz divided by P. Getting this? Okay, so from here this P will be equal to 7.61. Okay, so corresponding to this speed we are getting number of poles as 7.61. Now you can ask, we wanted to determine the synchronous speed for the generator. We wanted to determine the speed of the generator in fact. Okay, and we have determined the speed of generator here. यहाँ हमको speed of generator मिल गया. तो अब आप पूछेंगे कि सर speed of generator मिल गया, फिर हम वापस क्या कर रहे हैं? Okay, तो वापस ये कर रहे हैं that number of poles has to be the number of poles has to be even. ओके अगर हम ये स्पीड ऑफ जनरेटर लेते हैं वी हैव टू डिटरमाइन बेस्ट सिंक्रोनस स्पीड. ओके ये इसलिए यहाँ पर लिखा हुआ है बेस्ट सिंक्रोनस स्पीड. ओके तो अगर हम ये वाली स्पीड ऑफ जनरेटर लेते हैं 788.3 देन नंबर ऑफ पोल्स इज हाउ मच 7.61 विच इज़ नॉट पॉसिबल. ओके सो दिस हैज़ टू बी अप्रॉक्सीमेटेड टू 8. नेक्स्ट इसका जो इवन नंबर है डेट इज 8. सो नंबर ऑफ पोल्स हैज़ टू बी टेकन एज 8. गेटिंग दिस नॉट एंड करस्पॉन्डिंग टू दिस नंबर ऑफ पोल now we will have to determine the value of this RPM n. That will be best synchronous speed. Getting this not? Okay, क्योंकि जो हमको स्पीड मिली है that was not matching the number of poles which has to be even. तो इसके करस्पॉन्डिंग फिर हमने क्या किया, एक अप्रॉक्सीमेट नंबर ऑफ पोल निकाला, देन उसका हायर वैल्यू लिया, इवन हायर वैल्यू लिया, एंड देन वी विल डिटरमाइन द एक्चुअल सिंक्रोनस स्पीड. Okay, so now this n will be equal to 120 into f which is 50 divided by number of pole is 8. So from here we will get the synchronous speed as 750 rpm. This is the most synchronous speed. Getting this now? Okay, last thing we have to determine is capital D, mean diameter of the wheel, which I think we have already determined. Capital D we have determined as 1.32 meter. Okay, so this is how we can solve such questions. Getting this not? Okay, you can solve more questions from your textbook like for this Pelton wheel